Hello everyone, this is Earth Archives. Regarding ancient Greece, most people's first impression is of mythology, marathon battles and Olympic Games. However, they have accidentally learned about the life of ancient Greeks. Today, we will reshape it from 8 items that are inseparable from ancient Greek life. Daily life of ancient Greeks. Before the show starts, please subscribe, share, and turn on the little bell. This will help us grow faster. Without further ado, the show begins. Step back in time with me to ancient Greece, where the roots of our modern world run deep. Sure, they gave us epic poetry, mind-bending philosophy, and those iconic column temples that still make us stop and stare. But what about the nitty-gritty of daily life? According to Michael Lovano, a history guru from St. Norbert College, life in ancient Greece wasn't all that different from our own hustle and bustle. So, let's take a peek at 9 everyday objects that'll whisk you back nearly 3,000 years and make you feel right at home. 1. Protective statues. Let's talk about home sweet home in ancient Greece, where keeping the crib cozy wasn't just about fluffing pillows. Nope, it involved some serious spiritual mojo. Picture this, your typical Greek household, complete with a chill courtyard and a little family altar tucked away. But what made it truly homey were the guardians at the gate, quite literally. Meet the Herm, a pint-sized statue of Hermes, the OG travel buddy. Before stepping out, Greeks would give a nod to Hermes, asking for a smooth journey, even if it was just a quick run to the market for some olives. And when they got back, it was all about that thankful vibe for making it home in one piece. Then there's Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft. Nope, not someone you'd invite for a cozy chat by the fire. But her 3-sided statue standing guard at the doorway. That was like a big ol' keep out sign for any bad vibes trying to creep in. They even had mini versions of her for on-the-go protection. Because you never know when you might need a goddess in your pocket, right? 2. Wine mixing bowl. Crater. Alright, let's raise a glass to the ancient Greeks and their legendary parties. You see, back in the day, they didn't just sip wine straight from the bottle. Oh no, they had a whole ritual, and it all revolved around something called a crater. Now, imagine this crater as the VIP of the party, the kingpin of the symposium, which was basically a fancy term for a Greek booze fest, complete with wine, music, and lively banter. The Greeks had this whole thing about not drinking wine neat. They thought it was a bit uncouth. So, they'd mix it up with water, but not just any water, it had to be the perfect blend, and that's where the crater came into play. These babies were like the giant mixing bowls of yore, usually made of ceramic or bronze, where they'd dilute the wine to the ideal potency. And let me tell you, these gatherings weren't just about getting tipsy. Nope, they were where the cool kids, citizens, of Athens would come together to shoot the breeze, share ideas, and maybe even solve the world's problems. You could say they were like the ancient version of TED Talks, but with a bit more wine and a lot less PowerPoint. 3. Ceramic storage vessels, amphorae and pithoi. Picture this, you're cruising through the waves on an ancient Greek or Roman ship, and what do you stumble upon? Thousands of ceramic containers, snug as bugs in a rug, carrying the essentials of life back in the day. These ceramic wonders were the Swiss Army knives of ancient Greek life. They did it all. From chugging down wine to hauling olive oil and everything in between, these vessels were the backbone of their civilization. Now, let's talk about the MVP of the ceramic world, the amphora. This bad boy was like the Greek version of your favorite water jug, but with a bit more flair. It had 2 handles for easy lifting and even doubled as a nifty unit of measurement. Need some honey? Grab 1 amphora. Throwing a party? Better snag 2 amphoras of wine, just in case. Now, here's the kicker. These savvy ancient Greeks didn't just stash their pithoi anywhere. Oh no, they knew a thing or two about keeping things fresh. Some of these bad boys were even buried halfway underground in the coolest room of the house, keeping their precious cargo cool and safe from spoiling. Talk about thinking outside the storage box. 4. Clothing, the peplos and chiton. Imagine stepping into ancient Greece, a land where statues flaunt their birthday suits like it's nobody's business, but in real life, people are strutting around in their finest threads. So, what's the deal with ancient Greek fashion? Well, let's start with the basics. Picture this, a big ol' piece of cloth, usually wool but sometimes flax or cotton, draped and folded into a stylish ensemble. It's like the original DIY fashion. Now, if you were strolling down the streets of ancient Athens, chances are you'd spot folks rocking what we call a tunic today. Think of it as a long t-shirt that hits mid-thigh, cinched at the waist with a bit of string or rope for that extra flair. Versatile, huh? You could wear it solo or layer it up with a snazzy cloak called a hermation. But hold up, we can't forget about the ladies. While the guys are strutting their stuff in tunics, the gals are rocking ankle-length dresses known as peplos. These bad boys are made from two pieces of fabric clasped or pinned together at the shoulders, creating that iconic Greek chic look. And let me tell you, those clasps aren't just your run-of-the-mill accessories, we're talking bronze brooches and even some bling-worthy pieces made from silver and gold. Talk about dressing to impress. 5. Chariots. Imagine the ancient Greeks gearing up for the ultimate thrill ride, chariot races. These bad boys weren't just your average Sunday stroll. They were the highlight of every party and festival, the main event that had everyone on the edge of their seats. Picture this. It's a sunny day at the Hippodrome, the air electric with excitement. The crowd is buzzing as charioteers line up, their hearts pounding with anticipation. These races weren't for the faint of heart. They were high-speed, hair-raising affairs that left spectators holding their breath. Now, let's talk chariots. These babies were like the Ferraris of the ancient world, sleek and lightning fast, pulled by a team of 4 fiery horses. And get this, there could be up to 10 chariots tearing up the track at once, jockeying for position, bumping and grinding as they fought for victory. But here's the kicker, these chariots weren't just for show. They were the real deal, built tough with wood reinforced by bronze plating, a nod to their origins from the ancient Near East via Egypt and Cyprus. And while you might think chariots were all about warfare, think again. In ancient Greece, they were all about the need for speed, the thrill of the race that had hearts pounding and crowds roaring. 6. The Greek shield, aspis. Imagine yourself as a brave hoplite soldier, gearing up for battle in the ancient Greek army. Your trusty sidekick, none other than the humble wooden shield known as the aspis. Now, don't let its simplicity fool you. This shield was the real MVP of the battlefield. Invented back in the 8th century BC, it quickly became the go-to gear for soldiers across the Mediterranean. And why? Well, it all came down to one game-changing feature, the leather back. Picture this, you're in the heat of battle, and you need a shield that's not just sturdy but also easy to handle. That's where the genius of the aspis comes in. With 2 grips, one for your elbow and another for your hand, this bad boy was like an extension of your own arm, giving you the agility and protection you needed to face whatever came your way. But here's the kicker, these shields weren't just wooden planks slapped together. Oh no, they were reinforced with plates of metal, like bronze or iron, giving them extra strength and durability. And let's not forget the intimidation factor. Some shields were decked out with fierce gorgons' heads and other intimidating scenes, striking fear into the hearts of your enemies. 7. In the temple, the tripod. When you hear tripod, you might immediately picture a sleek gadget holding up a camera for the perfect Instagram shot. But back in ancient Greece, tripods were no ordinary tools. They were sacred vessels, essential for keeping the gods happy. Picture this, you're strolling into a Greek temple, ready to make your offerings to the divine. What's the first thing you see? That's right, a majestic bronze or iron tripod, standing tall and proud. It's like the VIP seat reserved for the gods themselves. Now, here's where the magic happens. The priest or priestess places a cauldron atop the tripod, ignites a fire beneath it, and voila, it's time for the ritual offerings. Maybe it's a handful of grain, a juicy cut of meat, or a generous pour of wine or oil. Whatever it is, it's meant to please the gods and win their favor. But wait, there's more. Picture the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, the ultimate hotspot for divine communication. Here, the tripod takes center stage, forming a grand pedestal for the legendary Delphic oracle. Perched atop this sacred seat, the oracle channels messages from Apollo himself, guiding mortals with insights from the divine realm. 8. Knucklebones. Back in ancient Greece, sports and games weren't just for fun, they were a way of life. From board games to ball games, Greeks of all ages were hooked on the thrill of competition. But there's one game that stole the spotlight, knucklebones, also known as astragaloi. Now, picture this, you're chilling in ancient Greece, looking for some entertainment. What do you reach for? A set of knucklebones, of course. Originally, these bad boys were made from real animal bones, but as the Greeks got fancy, they started crafting them from terracotta, bronze, and even precious metals like gold and silver. So, what's the game plan? For the kiddos, it's all about tossing 5 bones in the air and showing off your skills. Think of it like a juggling act, but with ancient flair. You catch as many bones as you can on the back of your hand, or aim to land them in a tiny vase or hole in the ground. Talk about precision. But knucklebones weren't just child's play. Oh no, they had serious street cred among Greek women too. Picture this, a young, unmarried lady, eager to peek into her romantic future. She'd roll those bones, hoping for the ultimate jackpot, an Aphrodite throw, where each bone lands in a different position, signaling love on the horizon. Now, let's not forget the fellas. Men of ancient Greece weren't shy about taking risks, and knucklebones were their ticket to gambling glory. With each side of the bone assigned a numerical value, it was like rolling the dice, but with a twist. The number facing down was the one that mattered, adding an extra layer of excitement to the game. So, whether you were a kid chasing adventure, a hopeful romantic seeking love's guidance, or a daring gambler looking for the ultimate thrill, knucklebones had something for everyone in ancient Greece. Who knew a handful of bones could spark so much excitement? What do you think about this story? Please leave your comments. See you in the next episode.